James Gunn's Superman is doing reasonably well at the box office right now, and in fact, it's actually even doing well amongst critics and audiences, but still there is some arguments to be had over certain creative decisions that were made during the movie. Now, this article from that Park Place that I have pulled up does have spoilers for the movie, so if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, then feel free to click off the video now. I just ask that maybe before you go, you click the like button and perhaps share the video with someone else who has seen the movie. I'd really appreciate it because it helps me in the algorithm with that engagement. But with that out of the way, let's dive into this. So James Gunn defends controversial Jor-El twist in Superman. It's happening before in the comics. Now, there are a lot of things that people are arguing about online over this movie, but this is the one that I think has gotten the most attention, and that's the decision, the reason behind why Jor-El decided to send Clark Kent or Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman to Earth in the first place. Now, in this movie, Bradley Cooper is playing Jor-El in a cameo appearance where he appears as a hologram to Kal-El, where he basically outlines why he sent him to Earth to begin with, and that's what causing quite a stir. For more division and casting is Gunn's decision to reimagine the reason behind Jor-El and Lara sending their infant son Kal-El, who becomes Clark Kent / Superman, to Earth. In traditional Superman lore, dating back to the 1938 comics by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, Krypton's destruction prompts Jor-El to launch Kal-El's rocket as a desperate act of salvation, entrusting him to grow up as a beacon of good under Earth's yellow sun and inspire the people of Earth as a hero. In the original Superman, Brando as Jor-El read the now iconic line, "They can be great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, their capacity for good. I have sent you, my only son." Inspiring stuff, right? And that's what it says in the article. That's not me characterizing this. Gunn's film upends this by revealing a second half of the holographic message. Jor-El and Lara instruct Kal-El to conquer Earth, rule its primitive inhabitants without mercy, and take multiple wives to repopulate the Kryptonian race. This alteration has provoked widespread criticism from fans who view it as a fundamental betrayal of Jor-El's character, traditionally depicted as a wise, ethical scientist warning of Krypton's doom. And the article goes into a lot of posts on social media where people are objecting to it. I'm not going to go through all these. I have a link to this article in the description in the video if you want to check it out yourself. I decided to pull up some of my favorite ones, or some of the ones that I saw that kind of tipped me off that this was going on. So this was the first one right here. The fact this is literally a major plot point in James Gunn's Superman is insane. You can earn them, Cal. You can earn all of them. I'm not going to say the word because I don't know how YouTube treats that, but you get the idea. It's not good. So Donners, help the people of Earth, my son. Snyders, do not let them make the same mistakes as us. Guns, earn them hoes. And then of course there's this clip right here.
Get them hoes, as many hoes as you can.
Yes, get all them hoes, my son.
And then I love this. This is the last one right here. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but I love that they made this AI rap song of it.
From the house of L to the house of hoes, got a little mission for you, son. Listen close. Yo, Cal, you my legacy, my flesh, my clothes.
It's just amazing.
Now go to Earth and make that planet your home. But don't just save them, breed them, feel me? Flying smooth, make them cry. Oh, really? You got strength of 10 men.
Okay. That's enough. You can go check this stuff out yourself. I recommend it. So Gunn's justification, honoring the character while taking risks. In response to the criticism, Gunn has defended the changes as thoughtful evolutions rather than outright betrayals. In an interview with Comic Book Movie, he emphasized his deep fandom and commitment to Superman's integrity. Quote, "I'm a huge Superman fan," Gunn said. "So first of all, I had to trust myself that I was going to honor the pieces of Superman that we needed to keep the same, and also allow myself to make changes where changes might work and wouldn't go against the integrity of who the character is." Now, I don't have a problem with that mindset, because when you're adapting a character like this, especially one that's been around since the 1930s, there is a certain responsibility, because there's certain characteristics of that character and certain plot points where it's like, okay, you need to maintain these certain things. Other ones, if it's not necessarily specified, I mean, it's kind of hard to find that nowadays because Superman's lore is so vast. But if there are some things that's not necessarily specified or it's just kind of like obscure, then maybe you have a little bit more wiggle room. The characterization of Jor-El, I think that's a little bit more foundational to who Superman is, as opposed to one of those points that you have a little bit of wiggle room on what you want to do with. But still, James Gunn apparently felt that he maintained who Superman was in the movie, and a lot of people who, even if they're critical over this movie, still like David Cornsweet's portrayal of Superman and thought he did a good job. So they got the character right. It's just some of the backstory behind Superman is what was changed. A lot of people object to that. Some people think it's fine for James Gunn doing that. So I guess it kind of leans more into the category of more people are okay with that, or at least they think that's one of the things that James Gunn was allowed to change, even though a lot of people seem to disagree with it. And so I think that was simply dealing with some of those things, was simply dealing with allowing ourselves to change parts of the story in a way that was interesting for the DCU. But that wasn't something that went against who Superman was. And like I said, some people agree with him on that one. Other people seem to disagree with that one. Gunn elaborated in a conversation with Inverse, noting that the twist creates a personal crisis for Superman without undermining his heroic foundation. I don't feel like it's necessary or anything like that. It just seems like it's a twist for the sake of a twist. Now, I'm not going to be upset about it or anything like that. I very rarely get upset for creative decisions in movies. A lot of times I'm just kind of like, nah, I disagree with that. I would have done it differently, or I don't think they made the right decision. And it just something along that line. It's usually never to the point where I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. I'm upset about this movie because they did this to this character. Like, I don't get that invested in it. I'm not saying it's never happened with me, but more times than not, I just think like, okay, well, that was a decision. I personally wouldn't have done it. I can see where they were coming from and why they made those decisions. Now, this one, I can't really say I understand why Gunn made the decision that he did. I think he's just kind of looking for a twist just for the sake of it. And a lot of people don't seem to like it, because if he would have just kind of kept the origin or who Jor-El was, then most people wouldn't have been talking about it. And I think the movie would have been better received, because there's people out there defending the decision, saying it's fine. And there's people out there saying it hurts the movie. I don't think there's anyone really saying that it made the movie better for having made the decision that Gunn did for it. So I think it was probably better if he just did nothing or didn't make the decision that he did for the movie. But that's just me. Leave a comment below if you disagree and explain why, please, because I'm interested in hearing what people have to say about it. I don't want to take something away from him that was elemental to who he was, but I did want him to deal with a personal crisis. I think this kind of does take away a little bit with who Superman was, because instead of coming from a race of noble people, he comes from a conquering type people. And I think there would be that crisis of I don't know, of who he is, if that's what he knows that he came from. He came from a group of pretty much a race of pretty bad people, if you ask me. Gunn also pointed out precedents, adding it's happened before in the comics. It's a few and far between, but it's happened. There's other references for that. This article points out in Smallville, there's something kind of similar to that, not quite the same. But the way I see it is because when you have comic lines like Superman that's been around for nearly a century at this point, you are going to have some changes made throughout the comics. Some of those changes are good and they end up sticking around. That becomes more foundational for who the character is, and that just becomes the established lore. Other creative decisions might be made that changes something in the past, and then a lot of people don't take to it really well, so then they kind of revert back, and that's just kind of like a one-off thing that people end up forgetting about. James Gunn seemed to have kind of combed the comics to find some obscure stuff in order to justify the creative decisions that he wanted to make for this movie. And the only thing I say is the reason why those creative decisions haven't become the established lore at this point, why they haven't picked up after they were initially conceived of, is probably because they weren't really well received from audiences when they first came about. So if you're looking for stuff that you can use to justify your adaptation, you probably shouldn't look for stuff that was probably rejected in the past. But that's just me thinking out loud. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click the like button and share this video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.